Scenes were captured on May the 31st, 2025, in one of China's provinces. Meteorologists had already warned people of possible flooding, and a quick
Flash floods swept away houses in China, tearing apart everything in its path, leaving only confusion in the eyes of the witnesses. Shortly after, a massive rock rolled down in a terrifying landslide in India, throwing a truck into a deep gorge. The entire road collapsed in an instant, leaving behind only screams and despair. In the US, a cliffside kept crumbling, generating large waves that hit the lake's surface, sweeping away even the beads of sweat from fear. This same scenario repeated on a highway in Nepal, where rocks and soil from a hillside fell down, blocking the road completely, forcing people to run frantically to escape the disaster unfolding before them. In India, once again, rocks rolled down a mountain road, and the fog that shrouded everything couldn't hide the devastation it caused, creating an inescapable warning. Meanwhile, in Ecuador, a massive landslide shattered the hillside like a nightmare. A thick cloud of dust covered everything, and the road was blocked in a dark moment, one from which there was no turning back. At the same time, in China, a landslide near a construction site occurred, with massive chunks of earth falling rapidly, almost burying everything in its path. The hurried footsteps of workers escaping the disaster echoed through the chaos. In India, a screeching sound was heard, followed by everything vanishing as rocks from the mountainside came crashing down, leaving only destruction in its wake. Trees were swept away with the debris, and power lines snapped, creating a scene of total disarray. In Bhutan, a thick dust cloud descended from the cliffside, engulfing everything in its way. Chaos and fear spread throughout the area, with no one prepared for what came next. Soon after, a giant mass of earth swept away a house and a bridge near a river in China, leaving behind a scene of devastation. Everything was carried away in a tidal wave of water, regardless of any preparation. Mud floods quickly swept away cars down a slope in India. No one could have predicted how fast everything would be swept away. At the same time, in Nepal, a sturdy house collapsed instantaneously when the ground gave way, tearing everything apart, leaving only a heavy, ominous silence. In Georgia, a car was pulled down a slope in an unexpected landslide, creating a fleeting moment of destruction, wiping out everything in its path. In Japan, a snow avalanche demolished homes under the weight of snow and fallen trees. The house was shattered, leaving behind a chilling, devastating sight, with life only existing beneath the white blanket of snow, a sorrow that couldn't be erased. In Colombia, the hillside crumbled like a giant waterfall, with columns of mud tumbling down, swallowing everything in its path with unrelenting fury. In Vietnam, houses perched on the hillside were swept away in an instant, erasing an entire village, with the deafening roar of falling earth and rock. On a highway in China, flash floods surged like a powerful wave, carrying vehicles with it. Everything was swept away without mercy, leaving only devastation behind. In India, another terrifying landslide caused the earth and rocks to fall like a wave, almost burying a truck. Fortunately, some lives were spared, but only just. Meanwhile, in New York, rainwater rose, eroding the soil near a bridge, threatening its structural integrity. Would the bridge hold strong against this challenge? In Shimla, India, rocks tumbled down from high above, sweeping away homes and dreams alike. Chaos enveloped the area, with no safe haven in sight. In Iran, floods washed away everything in its path, turning the land into a swirling vortex of mud and debris. A haunting silence filled the aftermath, leaving only the memories of what had been lost. In Norway, a landslide swept away homes, bearing any trace of humanity, leaving only the sound of wind whistling through jagged rocks. Strong winds blew through the US, toppling trees and tearing everything in its wake, creating an invisible force that was equally terrifying. An earthquake in Indonesia caused the ground to liquefy, pulling everything along its path into the deep, murky abyss. A woman fought to keep her balance amidst the destruction, caught between the earth and sky in the chaos. A terrible hailstorm rained down in Canada, devastating a Tesla in an instant. The windows shattered, the car's frame twisted, and all that was left was the sharp, painful realization that nothing was immune to nature's wrath. In Brazil, floods swept away everything in a parking garage, leaving behind a tragic reminder of humanity's helplessness against nature's force. A bridge in Georgia was swept away by the floods, breaking everything that had been built. It was a sudden end that no one could have prepared for. In Iowa, a tornado formed in the sky, threatening everything beneath it. Nature's power left everything vulnerable and helpless. In New York, hailstones fell from the sky, mixing with a swirling tornado, creating a scene of pure chaos. No one could do anything but run for cover. In Brazil, floods swept away everything in the parking garage beneath a building, a grim reminder of humanity's vulnerability. In Italy, strong winds and hailstorms shattered trees and roofs. Nature erupted in a fury that humans couldn't control. Massive hailstones rained down in Arizona, crushing the pool beneath them. This storm could destroy everything, rendering everything fragile and transient. In Oman, raging floods carried away a container store, like a giant wave erasing everything in its path. All that remained was chaos. Meanwhile, in China, a massive wall of sand advanced, covering the sky, as if nature was wiping away all signs of human existence under a blanket of endless sand. A tornado formed over a lake in Iowa, darkening the atmosphere and threatening everything beneath it. In Canada, hailstones fell like bullets from the sky, and strong winds shattered windows, leaving destruction in their wake. All people could do was watch in helpless awe. In Serbia, a dust tornado swept across a parking lot, carrying everything with it, leaving behind only the sound of wind and a chilling silence. In Italy, hailstorms and strong winds ravaged the region, creating a scene of turmoil and devastation, forcing people to flee to safety, praying for any escape from the wrath of nature. Please subscribe to my channel to get the latest updates on natural disasters around the world as quickly as possible. Wishing you a great new day.
When strong winds and hail come together, it's like pure chaos. Over a brief period, 7 avalanches swept through the area. Despite efforts by local workers to clear a section of the highway, it was soon buried under snow once again. Although no one was injured, numerous people were left stranded in their villages. It's hard to imagine the aftermath, but they say they managed to sort it out together within a few days.